yell at earlier?
Oh, you got him. Hello. And I'm fine.
Wave. Wave to me. Right. The wave.
What am I going to do?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the class of 2020 graduation of the best of Vanderbilt in Bellaire.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to do this. It really is an honor to be in front of all of you, celebrating this joyous occasion with your families. When Sammy told me I'd be up here speaking to you all, I did what any Vanderbilt student would do in preparation for an important deadline. I procrastinated for 3 days, looking at memes on Instagram and TikTok, drank 2 Red Bulls, took some Adderall, and pulled an all-nighter. Joking aside, I really began to ask myself the question, what's my responsibility up here? Most people who give commencement addresses have actually accomplished something in life. Until recently, my biggest accomplishments were my COVID-19 beard and first prize at a karaoke contest where I sang Havana by Camila Cabello. Do I address you like a successful entrepreneur and encourage you to chase your dreams? Or do I address you like a comedian and make awkwardly true jokes, insert sentence comparing cost of tuition to number of keg stands completed? I stopped myself. What would I want to hear if I was Joey or Avery, sitting in the audience with someone standing up here who thinks he knows something about the world? Well, I cannot say I know much, but I've learned that there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge can be purchased, but wisdom must be imparted. So what I'd like to share is some wisdom I believe to be a helpful part of thriving in life after college. This is advice that was passed down to me from others, so I cannot take credit for it. However, I will shamelessly accept your applause and compliments at the end. I want to share a story with you about one of my role models, a man named Thomas Broderick. Not many people know who he is. Broderick grew up in Ohio in the 1920s, and at the age of 19, he parachuted into Europe with the United States paratroopers in the invasion of Normandy. On his 5th day of action, Broderick was with his unit in a foxhole and stuck his head out to check for enemies. Unfortunately, he was shot in the left temple and was assumed dead immediately. Miraculously, the hospital managed to resuscitate him, but when he awoke, he was completely blind. With this news, Broderick felt sorry for himself. At the beginning, he refused to learn Braille. He isolated himself from others and had given up on his future. But with the help of the VA, he begrudgingly accepted a job selling insurance over the phone and eventually married a wonderful woman. They had 7 children, and over the 40 years of his career, Broderick built an insurance empire in Chicago and became a community icon. He also made it a point to hire other blind veterans. During an interview many years later, a reporter asked him, "Tom, don't you regret what happened in that foxhole in Normandy?" And Broderick responded, "No, it was my fault for lifting my head up too high. I have to take responsibility for my actions." Broderick's story resonates with me because it illustrates how important your mindset is when life gets more challenging. And it will after college. For people like Broderick, failure is not a permanent condition. Regardless of the circumstances, you can still control your attitude. So when you get out into the world and the comforts of college become a distant memory, remember the example your parents set for us today. They manufactured an incredible graduation ceremony for you on their front lawn, even though your graduation got canceled. They even managed to hire a woefully unqualified keynote speaker by offering to pay him in biltong and pedophores. Your attitude matters in your career. I've observed that average people find problems, but above average people offer solutions. There's no such thing as being overprepared. So take work seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously. It's okay to laugh in those tense moments. And when you make a mistake, take responsibility for what happened. It'll build trust. So when you start your first job, recognize the difference between what you know and what you don't know. Get help when you do not know, and be curious why things are done the way that they are. Also, don't be intimidated by bullies. They're usually covering for their own inadequacies. Your attitude matters in your relationships. I've learned that in less time than you realize, you'll have to start looking after your parents. Remember how much they've done for you and do what you can to reciprocate those 20 plus years of love. Know that you'll have to make decisions about which friendships to maintain and which to let go. Let your values guide that decision, and do not nurture friendships unless they nurture you. Finally, be frugal about compromising. That is, until you find the love of your life. People will not remember what you did or how you did it, but they will remember how you made them feel. Your attitude will matter most when you start to find success. There are 2 Hall of Famers in baseball, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Everyone's heard of Babe Ruth. Not many people know of Lou Gehrig. Ruth and Gehrig were teammates on the historic New York Yankees who experienced unprecedented success. Playing together for many years, both of these men broke records and performed at the highest level. Yet they're remembered far differently. Ruth had a bombastic, arrogant, and boisterous way about him. He once pointed his bat into the stands claiming he was going to hit a home run. He was a heavy drinker, a notorious womanizer, and he was once arrested multiple times in a single month. Years after his retirement, countless Yankees and opposing players came to resent Ruth. Not for his success, but how he behaved after success. On the other hand, Gehrig, who lived in Ruth's shadow, was beloved by all fans, even the opposing team. Gehrig was reserved, methodical, and always professional. He never basked in the spotlight and remained humble throughout his career. Gehrig is remembered for his team-first attitude, reliability, and quality of leadership, and focus on the greater good. When we contrast these 2 players, their legacies differ substantially, yet their accomplishments are quite similar. Ask yourself the question, how do you want to be remembered? Lastly, a note about persistence. It took me a while to figure this out after I graduated college, so I'd like to tell you about it now. Life is not a sprint, even though social pressures of success instill such an urgency. So be patient and consistent. Nobody gets enormous biceps by going to the gym one time. That's unless you work out at the Estonia. It sounds crazy, but look at each day like it's a short mile and a long, drawn-out marathon towards your finish line. Your career, your health, your relationships, your dreams, they're not going to happen overnight, but they're not going to disappear either. Don't force the issue. Stay motivated by your long-term goals and introduce yourself to the feedback loop. Remember, time is on your side, so be intentional with your time. Life after college has struck me as amazingly mental. I had a coach named Stobie Whitmore that used to say, "Don't tell me how rough the sea is, just bring in the ship." Life's test is not about avoiding fearful or discomforting situations. They arrive no matter what. The test is about how you respond to those setbacks that get in the way of your ultimate goals. My dad's a doctor, so I use medical metaphors every day. To me, setbacks are an awful medicine, but patients need them to get stronger. If you approach difficulty as an opportunity to learn and you take responsibility for the results, life's challenges will appear much less demanding. Everyone experiences setbacks, but they also have a choice about whether to give up or to try again. Pay attention when you cross checkpoints in your own life, because as the task at hand becomes more competitive, fewer people will stick around. You will learn a lot about your character and your values when life pushes you towards that ledge of discomfort. As you overcome those mental hurdles, you'll build confidence in yourself that you can excel at things you never considered possible. So as I conclude today, my hope is I've struck a chord with you both. Remember the example that Thomas Broderick had whenever you see unjust life. Remember the words of Stobie Whitmore, who encouraged us to bring in the ship no matter how rough the sea is. And remember Lou Gehrig whenever you start to see success and find your own success. You're gifted individuals with drive, enthusiasm, and kindness in your hearts. You've already achieved so much, and the world is going to be a much better place with you entering it. You'll always have the support of your family and your friends behind you, so give your parents a big hug because they got you this far. And now it's time for you to take your own life's journey. I wish you both the best of luck and congratulations.
So what I've learned as I've gotten older, I've become a crier. So this is one of those moments that my guess is I don't get through the whole thing as easily as I would like. But look, a big congratulations to you both. A Vanderbilt degree is something to be very proud of. It's something that will continue to pay you huge dividends for many years to come. So again, congrats to you both. Avery. So where do I begin? For more than 2 decades, I've been consumed by the lives of my children, and it all started with you. For hours, I would stare at your mom, who was in turn staring at you, wondering how she made you. Remember those things? Yeah. As the years went by, I was amazed at just 2 years old, it took a while to remember what this was, but after 2 years old, how you can name every state in that leapfrog game, leap pad, I was close, leap pad game, again in just 30 seconds. You then became a great student and tried new things like wrestling and later acting and singing. And you know what you like, you just do it. And you do things with so much confidence, and these are things, honestly, that I could never do. Being a dad is hard. It was hard choosing fatherhood over friendship as you're growing up, but I need to give you leadership and direction. Choosing that road was hard for me, but my commitment was firm, as is what needs to be done if you're a father. That being said, I will take a victory lap as here you are, a graduate of one of the finest universities in the country, starting a great job with much opportunity. As I've said before, you spend your teenage years getting your confidence by being strong and athletic. For the next 40 years, this comes from being professionally successful, and you've shown over and over again you have the character and the drive to be successful. Now, I know you'd be disappointed if I didn't throw a couple of nuggets of advice. Had to do that, right? First, there are plenty of smart people out there, but a few willing to be the first one into work and the last one to leave. And yes, to bite off more than you can chew and then chew like hell. Be that guy. Second, it's hard to be a Jew in the working world as the stereotypes are so strong. We are smarter, understand finances, and are good providers for our family, but others do not even know us. Think that we're cheap, money hungry, and only looking out for ourselves. So day by day, look for opportunities to dispel that myth. Could be as simple as picking up the check, paying your employees generously, or giving a nice tip. Others are watching closely. Lastly, please believe deeply in God. Be a good person, and He'll take care of you like He's taking care of me. Avery, congrats. I can't wait to see where life leads you. In about 10 years, I hope it leads you to giving me a grandchild. Congratulations.
So normally I don't actually use a piece of paper, but as Scott was saying, it's a very emotional event being the chancellor of this household and this university, and as such I thought I'd write a few notes down. So, first of all, to Prince Zach Gates of Memorial and Provost Scott Tyrus, thank you very much. It's a privilege to follow you all at this graduation ceremony for the 2020 graduates of Vanderbilt University. I was definitely humbled by those wise words that you gave, and I learned some very good life lessons, so thank you very much, and hopefully I'll carry them forward and be able to use them in my future career. Now, it's as you've heard before, it's very important to quote wise men and famous sayings before starting a speech. So today I will use the well-known term man tracht und Gott lacht. So for all of you that don't speak Yiddish as a first or second or maybe even third language, I'll translate for you. It means man tracht und Gott lacht means man plans and God laughs. So we certainly didn't plan to be here today on the front yard watching the Bellaire construction of the new school during the graduation ceremony. But here we are. And it's actually wonderful to have so many people here that would not have been with us at Vanderbilt in Nashville today, so that's a good thing. And also, selfishly for me and Mom, how many people can give the commencement address at their son's graduation? So that's another good thing. Another good thing is, also selfishly again, is how many people are able to cap their son at graduation. So again, man tracht und Gott lacht, that's some 4 words of Yiddish for everyone today. 4 good words to remember, and as you can see. First of all, Avery, congratulations on your graduation from Vanderbilt. You are someone that we do admire, and through the years you've demonstrated what a good friend you are and a true friend to Joseph, and I know the two of you have a bond that will certainly last a lifetime. You've more than one occasion put Joseph's needs above your own, proving what a special friend you are, and you don't know how much it comforted us to know that you were there with Joseph at Vanderbilt when we dropped him off in Nashville 4 years ago. So thanks to Avery. And again, one more important thing from Avery, thanks for having a great family. They're a wonderful bunch. I learned a lot from that speech. Thanks, Scott. And definitely a great family we've come to know and love. I think Joseph, thank you. It's bothering me, that thing. I'm not a professional speaker with those things on. So, Joseph, mazel tov to you on your graduation from Vanderbilt. We've really enjoyed watching you grow and develop and reach each milestone. We definitely are proud to see how you've developed into a confident, humorous young man who's very kind to all around him. It's fun to watch your activities and achievements from the sidelines. I won't be long, don't worry. Your positive outlook is definitely one of your key attributes, and it's been well shown in many studies that positivity is such an important key attribute that will help you through your success in life, and that's something that Prince Zach Gates of Memorial mentioned as well in his speech, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to repeat that in mine. But anyway, I got through that. Again, your personality and attitude is something that's loved by all, and to me and Mom, what's really very important, and we heard it last night, and I'm going to announce to everybody right now, that Joseph was just nominated and awarded the Vanderbilt Hillel Mensch of the Year for 2020. And we have a smile on our face when we mention that, but if you think about that, that is the essence of who Joseph is, and in my opinion, that's the most important characteristic that a person can demonstrate, is that of being a mensch. I mean, this basically encapsulates Joseph. I don't know if you remember your high school yearbook senior quote. It was, you always succeed in the end. If you haven't succeeded, it's not the end. Well, Joseph, you certainly have succeeded, and we all know it's not the end, just the beginning of the next chapter. And we are really excited to see what you will achieve next. And thank you for always making us proud. We will now present the graduation certificates to the graduates.
And graduates, please move your tassel to the other side.
Class of 2020 Vanderbilt top 2 Bellaire students. Please everybody, we have some social distance snacks and water for everyone to enjoy at your leisure. Mazel tov, and thanks everyone for coming so far from all over the city. And South Africa for Earl. Hi Lionel from Australia.